You told me I could trust you, don't die. I could really use it.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's the one, the only Mimi here. If you're new here, make sure to go ahead and click that red subscribe button to join my squad. So let's go ahead and get ready into this video. So this happened back when I was in hair school, and by this time I was pretty established. I didn't really need the help of my learning leaders. Like, I was pretty much good to go, and I was with the quickness. Like, your girl was advanced, and I did it. Like, I did it. So this client, she comes in with extremely long hair. I'm exaggerating, it was not extremely long, it was probably like right here, like where this hair is, and she wanted like a big chop. Like, she wanted to go from here to like bob length, like Edna mode. She wanted to be in the mode, Edna mode. And you know, when people make a drastic change like that, we have to kind of like, you know, ask them if this is what they really want to do, like several times, just because you never know what that person is going through. You never know what had happened at home, so you just want to make sure that this is actually what they want to do, and they don't want to wake up the next morning crying and saying that you ruined their hair and that this isn't what they wanted. So, you know, we're already doing the whole procedures that we need to take, the steps, the consultation, everything, to make sure that this is what this lady really wants. Because one thing about me is I'm very thorough. When I'm asking my questions, I'm very thorough, and I will take my time asking the necessary questions that I need to ask, just so there's no miscommunication. Okay, because you're not going to blame me for you not liking your hair when you told me that this is what you wanted to do. We're not doing that. So I make sure that I repeat back the answer back to the client. I make sure I have, you know, my other classmates or even the learning leaders around so that they hear what is being said, because we're not doing that over here. And still to this day, now that I'm licensed, I still do that. Okay, so she said yes, she wants to go bobbling, she wants the Edna mode type of going on, but she also wanted a color. She wanted an all over color. So how we were taught in school is that we did the color first, and then if they want the cut, then we do the cut after the color. Because in my head that just makes sense to me, but I think she thought she knew better than what was being taught at the school and what they instructed me to do. Like, at the end of the day, yes, we listen to the client, but the teachers is what we are supposed to really, like, if they tell us to do something a certain way, we have to do it a certain way based on how we were taught. I went to a ℠𝕠𝕙 school, so the ℠𝕠𝕙 has its own little system, its own little way that you learn how to do certain things. So, you know, we're not going to do the Veda way at ℠𝕠𝕙. We're not going to do the Empire way at ℠𝕠𝕙. We're doing the ℠𝕠𝕙 way. So if doing the color first then the cut is the ℠𝕠𝕙 way, or if it's just protocol in general, but that's what I had to do. So she was saying, you know, because she was trying to be, I guess, cheapy, if that makes sense, because my learning leader did tell her that the color starting out for one bowl is $25, which is cheap. Okay, but remember, it's a school, so of course it's gonna be cheap. So she's saying that it's $25 per bowl that you use. So meaning that she had long hair, I had to go ahead and cover her whole head. So she was trying to get me to cut her hair first and then color it, so that she wouldn't have to use, you know, how many bowls that I mix up. Normally I'm only mixing up one, unless the person has really, really thick long hair. I'll probably use two, but in this case I only had to use one. So she's trying to tell me to cut her hair first because, you know, in her head it makes sense. But in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't really make sense, because in order to cut your hair first, we have to wet it down. But not even that. If your hair's not already clean, we have to wash your hair, cut it, then dry it to put the color on, and then wash it again and then dry it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a back and forth motion, which I don't think she understood that it would make me work harder and not smarter. It make me do a lot of unnecessary steps that I really, you know, if I just did it how I normally do it. So I'm trying to explain that to her in a nice way, that no, we cannot do it this way because we were instructed and told to do it this way, and that is actually more practical and it makes more sense if we do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Because when we do the color first, you know, it doesn't matter if the hair is dirty or clean now, because we're going to wash it at the end anyway. So we apply the color, then we wash them, like the color process, then we wash it out, and then that's when you do the cut on wet hair. Then you blow dry and style it, and then it's done. Like, you don't have to do that whole back and forth thing, because she's trying to save a quick buck. Like, I don't get it. But anyway, so that's what I did. So I explained to her and she finally agreed and was like, oh, okay. I understand that she was kind of irritated about that, but hey, beggars cannot be choosers. Either you go ahead, get the box dye at home and do it at home, and yeah, you can save money that way. I don't know. But we tried to find like her right color. She was at like a level 3 and wanted to be darker. So she said she wanted to be like the darkest of dark color. And you know, if you know hair and you know the color system, the darkest of dark color is a 1, black. So that's what we got. And she was like, no, that's too dark. But I'm like, but my teacher, she was like talking to me and she was like, well, didn't she say she wanted to be the darkest of the dark, like dark? And I was like, yeah. So then we moved over to level 2. Said level 2 is still dark, but I'm like, you know, if she goes to level 3, that's her level already, so I don't know. So I gave her different shades of 2. Like there's a 2 A, a 2N, and a 2, like it's different color system labels in the Paul Mitchell way. And there's other like systems that have different color names and ranges and stuff, like Clairol and all that. But you know, I'm getting the different shades of 2 just so she can choose which one she like. And I even put out like 3, but like a different tone of 3 out just to see if she liked her 3 level but just wanted a different tone. But she ended up picking like a 2 something, I can't really remember, but it was 2. She was worried that it was going to be too dark, but I assured her it was going to be the color and level that she really actually wanted. So I'm doing the color, you know, her hair was pretty long, so, but I'm whipping through it. I'm doing it fast so I can really go ahead and get my lunch break, because I was, at this point, I was over it. So I'm doing her hair color, I let her process, you know. Then it is time to rinse her out, wash her hair really good, give her the massage and everything, bring her back to the date, to my chair, so table, back to my chair, and then it's time to start the haircut. So now when I do this, because you know people can forget, I go over again and say what I'm going to do, and if there's any changes she wanted me to make, then that's when she says, well, I don't know anymore. What do you feel like doing? What are your suggestions? And I hate when people say that, because it's like, it's not my hair, so I can say something and you can probably like not agree to it. So I really don't know. But I was making suggestions. I was like, well, do you like the layered look? She was like, no, I don't like layers. I was like, okay, well, do you want like a blunt cut? And she was like, yeah. So I was like, do you still want it to be like, how short do you want it? So she goes from saying she wanted the bob, Edna mode bob, to just a little bit off of her hair. So I guess she was having second thoughts, which is okay, because at the end of the day, it's your hair. If you're not ready to cut all that off, you're not ready to cut all that off. I'm not going to pressure you into doing it, because what you want is what you want. I was like, okay. So I had to run it by my leader to tell her, hey, we changed what we're gonna do. And so at this point she comes over and she just asks the same questions, and she was like, I was like, oh, she doesn't want layers. And then my teacher was like, oh, you don't want layers? And she was like, no, I can do some layers. I was like, but you just said you didn't want layers. I don't know. So we were doing, she was like, oh, well, I don't want layers. So I was like, do you want face framing? Because I love doing face framing. And she was like, no, I don't want face framing. She was like, no, I don't want face framing either. But then my teacher ended up like asking again, and she was like, oh, I can do face framing, whatever you think is best. And I'm like, maybe she just doesn't trust me yet, which is fine. You know, I had clients like that before. But I ended up doing the haircut, doing the face framing, and she ended up liking it and booking with me for a next appointment too. So, you know, it's just about communication and actually going into details and making sure this is what the client wants. Because say if I didn't ask her and I cut her hair shorter than what she expected it to be short, shoot, I would have been in trouble, and I don't have time for that. But yeah, you guys, that was my crazy hair horror stories from hair school. If you guys like more, go ahead, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Bye.